Have you ever dreamed of a garden that, just works, where all the plants seem to help each other out, creating this perfect little ecosystem? Well, that is the big promise of companion planting, and today we're going to unlock some of its biggest secrets.
All right, let's start with a really classic example, one you've probably heard of, planting carrots and leeks together. This pairing is like the poster child for companion planting, and it's a perfect way to see how this whole thing is supposed to work.
So what's the deal with this partnership? Why is it so great? Well, it's actually a pretty clever bit of natural pest control. See, the carrot's biggest enemy is something called the carrot rust fly. And the leek, it gets targeted by the onion fly and the leek moth. But when you plant them side by side, their really strong different smells basically confuse the pests. It's like they create a scent force field that hides them from their enemies.
But here's the thing, and maybe this sounds familiar. Maybe you've tried this exact combination or another one you read about, like basil and tomatoes, and nothing. It just didn't work. It's super frustrating, and it's exactly what we're going to dig into.
So first, let's just recap the big promise here. When companion planting is firing on all cylinders, it's about building a garden that's healthier, tougher, and gives you a way better harvest, all from the ground up.
And the benefits can be massive. You've got plants like marigolds that actually fight off nasty pests in the soil. Then you have others like borage that are basically a neon sign for bees, bringing them in to pollinate all your squash and cucumbers. It adds variety, it saves space. I mean, it really does boost the health of the entire garden system.
Okay, so let's get to the heart of it. Why does a perfect pairing work wonders for your friend across town, but completely fall flat in your own backyard?
The honest answer, there is no universal rulebook for gardening. All those companion planting charts you find online, they're fantastic starting points, but they just can't possibly account for the million little variables that make your garden, well, your garden.
Let's start right at the foundation. Your soil. Is it sandy, draining water in a flash? Or is it heavy clay that holds on to moisture for dear life? This alone has a huge impact on what plants will even be happy. A great partnership can't work if one of the plants is constantly stressed out, just trying to survive in that soil.
And then there's this other massive factor, one you can't even see, soil pH. You can think of it like a gatekeeper for all the good stuff in the soil. For instance, blueberries absolutely need acidic soil to thrive, but lavender wants the exact opposite. If that pH is off for a certain plant, it doesn't matter how much you fertilize. The nutrients are essentially locked away, and the plant can't get to them.
And of course, there's your own little microclimate, which for so many of us boils down to one critical day on the calendar, your last frost date. This one date basically dictates your entire planting schedule. Plant too early or too late, and you stress out your plants, making them weak and, honestly, pretty bad companions. So, if the charts and the universal rules aren't foolproof, what is the real secret weapon? What do the most successful gardeners rely on?
Well, I can tell you it's not something you can just go buy at a store. I mean, fertilizer and compost, they're important for sure, but they're just one piece of a much bigger puzzle.
And no, it's not some kind of miracle plant that's going to solve all your problems overnight. The real solution isn't a thing you add to your garden. It's a method you start using.
And there it is. Your single most powerful tool is a simple notebook or, a notes app on your phone. A garden journal is what lets you see what's actually working for you in your space, turning all your personal experiences into a custom-made plan for success.
So how do you actually use a journal to completely transform your garden? It's really just about becoming a better observer, a detective in your own backyard, and knowing what to keep an eye on.
Look, you don't need to write a whole novel every day. Just try to focus on 4 main things. What was your plan, and what did you pair up? What pests and helpful bugs are you seeing? Any weird weather, like a sudden heat wave or a ton of rain? And of course, how did things turn out? What was the harvest like?
And this is what it looks like in practice. This is where the magic happens. On July 1st, you see those little white moths on the cabbage. Now, instead of just getting frustrated, you make a note for the future. Consider planting calamine nearby next season. That's it. That's how you use what you learned this year to build a smarter, stronger garden for next year.
You see what's happening here? This simple little process changes everything. You stop being someone who just follows instructions and you start becoming a bit of a garden scientist, running your own tiny experiment and creating a set of rules that are tailor-made for your garden.
I love this quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson because it just perfectly captures this new mindset. It's not really just about weeds, right? It's about the power of paying attention.
When you start really observing, you'll discover all these amazing virtues and hidden connections in your garden that no book could ever tell you about.
Because ultimately, the data you're collecting in your journal, all your wins, your losses, your little observations, that becomes infinitely more valuable than any generic planting chart you can find. It becomes your own personal, completely customized guide to a garden that actually thrives.
So the real question isn't just which plants go together. It's what can I discover if I really start listening to my own garden? What incredible secrets and amazing partnerships are just waiting for you to find them right there in your own backyard?